Hello, I'm CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. I want to invite everybody to come check us out on your road trips, your vacations, or whatever. Anytime you're nearby, come check us out. But also, yeah, whatever. So we have lots of fun things, several production companies that are in town working. Okay, so the world of okay, so this is going to be about the May the 4th, free comic book day, National Free Comic Book Day, by the way. And our outlet is Excalibur. There they go, plug. So I'm going to check out some of these freebies that I picked up, and these, yeah, uh, cool. And we're just kind of like, a lot of this is going to be like the first time I'm checking these out. This is pretty good artwork, you know. Yeah, I've always thought if you really want to know how to really draw or create in a recognizable form, uh, the human uh, physique and the body and everything, check out your comic books because a lot of what they do is like form fitting, and so you'll get a study for how the human body moves. When I was young, uh, at 13 or 14 or whatever, I got to see a drawing book about how like the motion of the body moves. So it had like models that would move, and then of course how to trace and draw uh, the bodies. But I actually really just used to sit around and draw uh, characters kind of based on comic books, and then of course I got a little bit more sophisticated and my work got a little sophisticated too. But I used to be, oh my God, this is so funny. I would be like a little kid, fifth, sixth grade or whatever. And then the kids in the neighborhood in my apartment complex I talked about in another video, Villa Marquis. Uh, um, yeah, I would draw. They would sit and they would kind of like model for me, and I would draw their pictures and everything. And it was kind of cool. Then give them the pictures, and oh my god, particularly the girls would love it. But yeah, I could if I look at something, I can you know draw, and I would draw with pencil and lined school paper, whatever. But um, graph paper is what they were used a lot of too. But I would just whatever, anything. Uh, And yeah, I remember doing that. I used to, and then sometimes older kids would be like, "Oh, that's goofy" or whatever, uh, or as the sarcasm, one of them, because it's like we had like high school kids that occupied the same playground as like elementary and middle school children. So it was like and it was like just part of the neighborhood. Now this is what I'd be interested in, by the way. Tales for a Halloween Night, John Carpenter's Tales for a Halloween Night. I don't know if he just put his name on it or not, but uh, I don't know if he's just the writer or what. I don't know, but that'd be kind of cool. Uh, Conan. Oh, so one of the things that this Excalibur said, looking at this, yeah, is that we got to uh, register for a drawing that having to do with like the Conan uh, franchise. Hopefully not O'Brien, but the Barbarian. Okay, back to my story. Yeah, the high school girl, I forget her name. She would like, she'd tease me. She'd be like, I'd be like drawing my friends, and she would look over and she'd make smarmy little comments like, "That moves me. That really moves me." And like make jokes or whatever. But whatever. It was all in good fun. So yeah. So the level of artwork, by the way, not so much the level because I think they're all great, but they'll change. This is kind of a lighter version of the Archie character. And of course, there's a little bit more contemporary, but Riverdale, and I guess this is an advertisement for the cast or whatever. But yeah, so um, so we had Jughead. Now I guess he's a yeah. I always thought Jughead was my favorite growing up, and I used to think, and I didn't even aware he was just an eccentric, a goofball, like the odd one out, and I always was. And then in retrospect, I'm thinking if there ever really was a character that could be, you know, secretly gay among the core group of the Archie people, it would have been Jughead. You know, why was he always wearing that crown anyway? Uh, let's see, Worlds of Aspirin, and and you see some of these franchises are known by people who are hardcore fanatics, and I don't know them. But I love this artwork. This is great. Um, but yeah, I used to sketch and draw and everything and of course the more you draw, the the better you get. But yeah, this is Star Trek. So franchises like Star Trek, you got to treat really really well, and the art can't be. It's got to be hyper, detailed. It needs to be a cartoon drawing, but needs to be. And here we are. There's different. Like you couldn't. I'm noticing a slight discrepancy between some of the artwork. So these are really really super detailed drawn characters, and then over here they get a little bubbly. So there's probably a reason for that. Uh, just kind of a display of, you know. Uh, but I do know that like the comics, they start out, where we were getting these, they started out from going from left to right, and starting from the left side, they were a lot more fun and elementary fun for younger children, and then as it gradually went up and further along, the stories along with the artwork becomes more sophisticated, um, until eventually you get to the table that it's like, okay, these are the comics that are have a little bit more of a morbid take on it, a more darker story. They're a lot more dramatic versus just a dun 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 superhero kind of thing. That was my Captain Chaos from Cannonball Run, by the way. But yeah, and so the more the sensuality of the characters become a little more prevalent. Um, Mad Magazine. When I was growing up, Mad Magazine. By that time, it wasn't Mad Magazine. It was Mad Digest, and they were like Reader's Digest, but they were Mad Digest. So, but the same kind of thing, sketch comedy in cartoon form, drawn cartoon fun. So this is kind of cool. And there's Captain Marvel, and yeah, I'm so excited. I don't know what he's so. Yeah, this is one I'm definitely gonna want to read and check out because I have a sarcastic sense of humor. Hellboy. My sister was with me today. I think she got Hellboy too. This was one of her favorite. No, Hellboy also. But yeah, I think that was one of her favorite when it came out. It's like, okay, cool. It was like it was on her regular watch. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Uh, the artwork here, this is pretty good. Even when they're doing, you know, the more detailed, the more close up. When you get to the, you know, then you get into the detail. And some of the uh, side characters or the less important characters or whatever, you don't have to give the details to it. But all in all, this is well done. Johnny Quest. What I remember about this was a cartoon, uh, probably replays of older cartoons in the early 1980s, 79, 80, 81, going around there, you know. Uh, but yeah, this is a vintage character, and yeah, and quite well drawn for an adventure, you know, for an adventure comic. And this is kind of cool because there's a section here. Some of these have that where there's a section here where they're going to like show you how to sketch the characters. From here, you easily, that shows you how to do here, and I guess the flip side here. Or a different pose, but yeah. So that's kind of cool. Thundercats, Thundercats, or whatever. So this is a lighter version of Archie. So you see the Riverdale. Where were we? Well, check out. Oh, it's right. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to pause this for a moment. So this is the Riverdale, which is, you know, more detailed and less cartoonish, less bubbly drawing of the same character, you know. So, and the whole idea is, well, the basically the readership that you want. Same guy. You give him a side bank here instead of that split down the middle kind of thing. Here you kind of modernize him, and I guess that's here, closest to here. But yeah, you see the little specks of freckles on his face? They're here. But it looks less freckly and more like just gentle. You know, it could be shadowing or whatever. You know, whatever. So, yeah. And huh. So they placate. Cool. I feel like one of those convention cosplay guys. Yep. So this is the Jughead that I knew. He had like a, you know, I don't know the thing about the crown, but I just remember, hey, why is this guy always wearing a crown? And it drew my attention to Jughead, and it's like, okay, he's the gay one. But he really wasn't. I mean, he dated, eventually, I came to realize Sabrina, the teenage witch, at some point. But in the comics, he did. And of course, she didn't let anybody know. I think that character was kind of inspired by Bewitched because she had like, you know, Samantha, the mother witch, and the daughter was Tabitha, but Samantha's prankster sister, not so much evil, but just the kind of the free-spirited, kind of looser personality. The less serious personality was Sabrina, you know, and so I feel like, okay, cool. Artwork here is pretty good, I have to say. Ranger Academy. I would definitely check that out. Okay. Last Comics on Earth. So this is an example of comics that are drawn for younger people, for a younger audience. I would say, but oh my God, really? Is it really? Okay. Robot dog. They're sitting here, you know, whatever. I guess so. I guess this could be kind of garbage pail kiddie kind of thing. So, fourth to fifth grade or something like that, whatever, moving into whatever. I'd be like remiss to show it to like a someone. I'd show it to someone who's in fourth or fifth grade before I would show it to a 4 or 5 year old. You know, although what our grim fairy tales, we got to seriously uh, water those down before we tell them to our young people. Striker Force. And so these are marketed, nation throughout the nation, perhaps, and several nations or whatever for um, introducing. It's kind of like, you know, Comic Con is good and everything. It's good to meet people and everything. But when you really want to get into like this right here, you test marketing because you like it, and then you let them know, hey, I want to see more of it. And of course, that the more people who are interested in making the purchases and continuing what happens or whatever, or maybe these some of them are already established and they've already got a readership, and then what you want to do is decide, hey, I want more of this particular version of the character. So Star Wars, you know may the force be with you. So look at the difference between, say, this, which is a lighter drawing, versus Star Wars. Just like Star Trek, you can't do something that has such a fan base and give people less than uh, you know the quality of work that they would expect, which is the quality in which the movies are crafted. You know, the detailing in the drawing. You couldn't do that. So, this is my big purchase today. Tales from the Crypt. So it reminds me of the movie from 1972 with Joan Collins. You know, uh, some of my first recollections, dealing with, learning some of, the facts of life, the life and death and the morality tales that some people get out of, fairy tales and everything like that. I got a lot of that out of comic books and also novels that I would read, paperback novels, I loved books I loved to read, and I loved books that gave me information in a way that I could understand as I came to understand it, that did not condescend to me because I was a young person. And if there was something that I did not understand, I was cool because I knew that eventually I would. Life teaches you things. So, but God, this is great. So this is one of the few movies in the 80s that I cannot watch throughout, and it is because of the final segment, not the wraparound segment, but in a movie, there's this character, kind of what's a curmudgeon that lives, in a high rise, and he's just like obsessed. Uh, he's an obsessed uh, germaphobe, which is kind of what happens. It's the way things come out when you find yourself at the top of the heap. Really, really, uh, you've really put in a lot of work, and you've become this. And what happens is you can tell that a lot of people have this. Um, Howard Hughes had it. You know, Joan Crawford had it. Uh, where they get into, the OCD and need, it's just basically it's a need to control the environment, and that can turn into kind of a germophobia or whatever. I think that Howie Mandel has that. So yeah, it's uh, cool. It's. Um, But these stories were fun. But I cannot watch it because what happens is the man becomes beseeched or beset or not beseeched. That's the wrong word. Beset upon by hordes of cockroaches, and I was like, I can't, no, no, no. And the very final of it, as I said, I can't. I've never watched it. I've always closed my eyes. It's always been too gross for me to watch. Not even that I've watched it. It's just I've always had to turn away from that scene. I'm talking about from a little kid. I've always had to like turn my face and my eyes or whatever, and I have never watched what happens. And I know what happens, but I also know that it's horrific because I could. So one summer on Emerald Isle off of the coast of North Carolina, I was there for several weeks in the summer with some friends of a friend. I was a friend of a friend who was friends with all these people, so that we were there for the summer for about just under a month, and so they have the sea turtles that come and they lay their eggs there, and they're a protected species. Now humans are not allowed to interfere, pick them up, touch them, or anything like that because it's a vulnerable thing. We're not even allowed to interfere. What we are allowed to do is make trenches, and people can shine lights and kind of like, because they're very dark. They're just crawling out, these little baby turtles that are born. They barely can make their way to you know the surf, where they have to get into the water and they have to swim, and hopefully they don't get eaten up between him and here in Australia, like on the eastern sea current or whatever. So it's like, yeah, it's a real thing, and people would go there and they would shine the lights and the turtle and kind of like guide the turtle to follow the light. And it's like, that's wow, that's a little bit like us being born, right? What it must be like, even though we can't remember. All we know is that there's a light. It's kind of like when we're passing on, transitioning from death. So light. So I feel like whatever happens in life and death, and so like I said, these fictional stories are a way that I learned to process a lot of the things that happen in real life. Um, but I feel like the death process, the actual person, I can't imagine the death process being much different than the birth process. And I don't necessarily know that it's a continuance of the same consciousness, but inevitably, the parts of us that feel the tangible world become parts of other consciousnesses. So this world we leave behind is what we are going to, it's what we leave for ourselves. Because matter is finite. There's only so much of it that we can access in our part of the universe anyway, and what we know in our database, that there's only so much matter, and it continues to recycle and change form because it is energy. And we're here in this consciousness. Some other time we will inevitably be part of another type of consciousness. you know. Now, whether it's an intelligent consciousness or not, I don't know. But you know, what happens? You have a snow globe, right? And then you have the little flakes of pretend snow inside the snow globe. You shake that sucker enough, and yeah, eventually all the snow in that globe will bump into each other and bump into everything else because there's a limit to how much surface there is. And so the tangible, the physical world is like that. So in that sense, we do probably have lived before and we probably will live again. Uh, you know, and so in that sense, reincarnation, though it may not be the same uh, consciousness, it will be another consciousness. However, knowing that, I kind of want to leave, you know, a decent world behind for whomever because, oh my God, you know, empathy, right? Okay, that's as deep as I want to get. But see, this is this kind of the kind of the things that kind of thoughts that I get from this, you know. Creepy. Okay, I love you guys. Love and light. Truly. Peace. Bye.